It's Monday, May 6th, Tuesday, May 7th, if you're on the East Coast, across the pond, or down under. And this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. Hope you had a great day and night. Coming out of the weekend, I am your host, Dave Scott, broadcasting to you live from the Great White North, on top of the mountains of central British Columbia, right here at SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show, including Deep Talk Radio and Revolution Radio. If you want to take a listen to our archives, they are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. Currently under construction. We're building it bigger and better due to your demand. Tonight's show is brought to you by the YouTube channel in Suho. Sebastian Martin brings high-quality messages to the masses. Head to our website, click on the Insuho banner, and subscribe today. Let's all take a look at disclosure from an inside perspective. One of the rising stars in ufology is Canadian researcher MJ Banias, an accomplished author, blogger, and now podcaster. MJ, who has very tight hair and a very tight beard, by the way, is someone whose connections, along with his studious exploration of the UFO phenomenon, has him at the forefront of what could be considered a soft disclosure of unidentified aerial phenomena in the near future. His website is terraobscura.net. And then in hour number 3, Everett Themer is going to join us to talk about some strange patterns he's noticed in the UFO media narrative. Of course, in the bottom of hour number 3, we will get to the SOR Newswire, brought to you by Paranoia Magazine. Mr. MJ Banias, it's been a number of months since we've had you on the show, but we know you're a fan, and we're a fan of yours. Always have time for you, my friend. How are you?
Oh, Dave, it is always a pleasure and an honor to be on Spaced Out. So I'm happy to be here. I'm fighting a bit of a cold, so if I start sneezing randomly, please don't worry. I'm all right.
Well, you know what? That's why I'm thankful that you can battle it out for a couple of hours, and I know those breaks are going to come in handy for you. How was your weekend, my friend?
It's been really busy. I was on Coast to Coast on Saturday night.
Nice.
So that was a late one. It was a lot of fun though, and apart from that, it's been fairly relaxing, trying to get better and fight this thing. But yeah, no, it's been great.
Well, I know you have young kids, so I'm pretty much going to blame this cold on your kids, because we all as parents seem to get it from them, the little germ-infested little humans that we love so much.
Yes, that you are. Yeah, that's true. They both got sick. And, they just start coughing and sneezing over everything, and then you get sick, and it's just, it all falls apart pretty quick.
Well, I do have to update my audience on something here, and you can tune on in for this as well. I actually went out with my buddy Mike yesterday, and we went out into the forest here looking for Bigfoot. And we drove around for about 6 hours, checking out logging roads and areas really desolate, nowhere near cell phone service, literally getting entrenched by trees and mud and everything. Found some pretty cool things. Saw a couple of deer, a dead fox, a really cool, what do they call them? It's kind of bird. It's blue. It's like a ptarmigan. Saw one of those in heat trying to attract the females. It was kind of cool. It was very cool.
That's a little nature journey. That's nice.
Yeah, actually. And I got some nice pictures of some young bear prints and a grizzly bear print and wolf poop. If we want to go down that, right in the middle of nowhere here, man. Everything can kill you where we are. And but we saw no Bigfoot.
I'm waiting for the part where you say you found Bigfoot. That's what I'm waiting for right now.
Well, you know what? We've actually been tipped off to a couple of areas around here thanks to some First Nations friends. And we are going to go check them out, because I'm a firm believer, MJ, that the key to finding Sasquatch is listening to the First Nations, because they are just so in tune and so in touch with what is going on in nature. And if they know where to go, that's where I'm going. And it's funny, because one of the places I had kept very secret, and a First Nations friend of mine said, I told him, I said, yeah, we're getting ready to go looking for Sasquatch. And he goes, where are you going? I said, I can't say that. I can't give away my spot. And he goes, oh, you're going to the north end of this lake, aren't you? And I'm like, how do you know? He goes, I know. He goes, because that's where they are.
Oh.
And I'm like, perfect confirmation. Perfect. What's really weird about this gentleman is he actually, MJ, a few years ago, him and his brother-in-law were out hunting for bear, and he swears that they came across 2 dogmen.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, okay, didn't think they were in this area. We're a little far away from Ohio and Wisconsin and the Beast of Bray Road. But he swears by it. So now I got to go look for that.
I think I really appreciate the indigenous perspective on Bigfoot, because they definitely are much more accepting of the possibility that Bigfoot is more paranormal than biological, right? Bigfoot has some sort of spiritual, let's say, basis versus just a physical creature like a bear or a wolf. So I appreciate their sort of philosophy. I appreciate that idea of Bigfoot, I think, because it explains a lot as to why we haven't been able to sort of bag one yet.
Well, when you come out to British Columbia, we'll take you to some hot spots. How about that?
I will take you up on that for sure.
Door is open. MJ, one of the reasons why I wanted to bring you on is, the debate in the UFO community has really been heating up the last year. And we talked about this the last time you were on, but I think it's kind of important to get an update here on what's going on here in 2019, because you're kind of at the forefront of this research of it. And what's your thoughts about everything that has gone on here? Are we getting any closer, or is this just a bunch of hype so far?
This year has really been the year of To the Stars Academy and the ATIP program and the Pentagon thing. It's just been kind of building and building and building. I think when we first sort of talked about this years ago, not 2 years ago, I guess, when To the Stars was a brand new thing and this ATIP program was just announced, I think no one really knew what to expect, right? I think a lot of people were convinced that this was just going to be a nothing burger, that this was, going to fall apart within the first year or so. But 2 years in, it seems to be going strong, and whether we're getting closer to a formal disclosure, I don't know. I guess it depends what your definition of disclosure is. Is the president going to walk out with an alien and say, these are our friends? I'm not sure if that's going to happen, but you might get a lot more open discussion from the mainstream and from the halls of power and from the government and mainstream media, that maybe UFOs are something people are seeing, and that it's a conversation we need to start having more seriously. That is what might be kind of changing for us at this point.
Has it been good?
It's never been good. The UFO community and the UFO discourse is and always has been sort of politics and drama and drawing lines in the sand and having arguments with one another. I think this is sort of a common factor within our community, and I'm not sure if we're ever going to be able to shake it. It's just part of it. And maybe it has to do with the phenomenon itself. Maybe the phenomenon wants us to remain at odds with one another, because if we're paying attention to each other, we're not paying attention to it as much.
Well, that opens up a whole door to a conspiracy. If we're not paying attention to it and we're paying attention to each other a lot more, this opens up an entire conspiracy that has really enveloped the entire UFO community. Because in my 4.5 years of being in this field, I don't think I've ever seen it as divisive, as vulgar, as potentially, I'm going to use the word violent. And I mean that more in the war of words than I do in actual physical violence. And I think that it hasn't done us a lot of good. And when we had George Knapp on the show last month, even he stated that even though the UFO community may not be the goal of the To the Stars Academy, the TTSA has not done a very good job at including a field that has worked so hard for credibility. And instead, they're dealing with a field and are shunning a field that has already been shunned by the mainstream. What's your thoughts on that?
No, I think that's a really fair point. I mean, my book, The UFO People, is sort of really hinges upon a chunk of that idea. The UFO community is a countercultural movement. It always has been. It's always been anti-mainstream, yet at the same time, it's been trying to become mainstream. So it's alienated itself and it's alienating the mainstream, all the while trying to embrace it. I think there is a lot of violence in the UFO community, in your definition. And I think you have hit the nail on the head there. It primarily has to do with the fact that you have a large organization that's come forward, such as To the Stars, and it has a lot of supporters and it has a lot of critics. And To the Stars has really positioned itself in such a way, especially with its supporters, that you're sort of with us or you're against us. I don't think it's formally done that. I think it's just kind of that's how culturally it's been positioned. And the UFO community has really bit. You have huge segments of people who are so supportive of To the Stars and the people involved that they will literally not allow criticism of it. Any criticism is automatically deemed as an attack, and they will then go after those people. There's literally been campaigns of sort of naming and shaming anti-To the Stars members of the UFO community. But then on the flip side, you have the people who are openly sort of opposed to the Stars in the sense that they don't trust it, or they think it's just a money grab, or enough due diligence hasn't been done. And they are at times sort of, again, taking shots at people and calling them names and kind of going after the individuals and not necessarily the arguments and the data. So I think you're right. And I think, again, it's the way it's kind of been positioned over the last 2 years. It's a with us or against us. It's very tough to find a middle ground because if you choose to go the middle ground, then the sort of zealot believers will go after you and the critics will go after you because you've chosen to sort of not pick a side.
Well, and we've seen that. I mean, there has been a number of people who have come out against people who've been critical. All right. There is a very pro To the Stars group in this Young Guns group that Grant Cameron named, and we're not going to name whom is whom because it's a group of about 20, 30 people. And there's a lot of good researchers in there, man. A lot of good researchers and some very good people in there. But there's also a couple of real headaches that want to stir up problems. And, I don't think calling them out by name is very strong. I don't think it's apropos, because in the end, those people will flush themselves out. Their own credibility will talk for themselves. But on the flip side, I think of people like Danny Silva, who is doing fantastic work. I think Frank and Chant on their show, UFO News Network, are doing excellent work in getting a lot of good people out there. I think Joe Murgia is doing great work as well. And just to name a few, there are others. As we could go, we could spend the next hour breaking them all down. But the whole point is there's a lot in that group that are so pro To the Stars. They do not want to see any other type of reaction outside of that support. And they're passionate about it. Then you get the people who are completely passionate on the other side, saying that TTSA is a group that is very, very political, that they don't care about the UFO community, that outside a couple of grainy videos, they really haven't proven or disclosed much. Where do you stand on this argument?
Well, we need to sort of be clear as to what To the Stars and the ATIP program sort of really was or really is. And I will give sort of credit where credit's due. Tom DeLong, when he sort of put this together, he was able to bring together basically sort of the invisible college of UFO UFO researchers from the late 70s, the 80s, and the 90s, sort of the aviary that William Moore sort of talked about in the 80s. He sort of brought them back together, and he brought in a few fresh faces, a few new players into the game, and he somehow kind of coalesced them into this group, at least partially. But really, the ATIP program, even before To the Stars, was that anyway. It was, Bob Bigelow and the guys from Bass and sort of, which was basically, NIDS 2.0. And it was all these individuals doing that work. So, when you really think about what we're still dealing with here, it's primarily, it was Dr. Christopher Kit Green. It was Hal Puthoff. Gary Nolan was involved in that. Colm Kelleher from Hunt for the Skinwalker fame. You had a bunch of Eric Davis. You had a bunch of these cats kind of who've already been doing this for a really long time. And that's really what ATIP was. It was just housed in the Pentagon and funded primarily by sort of government money as well as, Bass, Bob Bigelow money. So there's a lot of mistrust already in these individuals. You talk to any UFO researcher who was doing research in the late 70s and the 80s who lived through the William Moore days, the Richard Doty days, the aviary days, they're going to walk around with skepticism of these individuals because they were part of this mysterious aviary and they were involved in the drama and the politics of 1980s ufology. So there is a history there, whether it's true or not, whether it's misinformation or even some purposeful disinformation, we'll never know. But ultimately sort of the young guns, I think, who I have significant respect for, I think at times sort of forget that, as they refer to them, these dinosaur ufologists, the sort of the joke that respect your elders in a sense as well. Obviously, they're not going to trust some of these people because a lot of them knew Paul Benowitz or a lot of them knew William Moore, and it all got derailed for them in the 80s. So, history is a little history is nuanced. It repeats itself, and it's also it in people's minds. It has emotional weight.
No, and I agree with you on that, and I really do believe that on both sides of the argument, there are good things happening. There's very smart people on either side of this ledger. I mean, this is like being in the Senate of the U.S. or the House of Commons in Canada. Yeah. And they are absolutely going at it very politically. Is there a happy medium in between all of this? Because the way things are going in the political side of ufology right now, everybody is at each other's throats and everybody is accusing everybody of everything.
Yeah, to plug my own blog a little bit here, Dave, I wrote an article about this sort of, has ufology become bipartisan? For all of your listeners, if they want to go check it out, it's at terraobscura.net. It's the most recent blog post. But I raise that issue, just like you said, have we sort of set a line in the sand now and we've destroyed any happy medium? What happens to all of those UFO researchers who haven't really committed? I'm not necessarily opposed to the stars and these people. I interviewed a lot of them for my book. They're in my book. I respect a lot of them, but I'm also not willing to buy into everything hook, line, and sinker without evidence and due diligence and chain of custody documentation. I need the data as well that I can go through. And there's a few things that kind of I still question in regards to the stars and ATIP. And the way these videos were released. All the answers aren't there, and To the Stars hasn't exactly been the most forthcoming all the time. It's taken a long time to get some of this paperwork out, and some of the paperwork is still missing. I'd love to know, how these videos were sort of properly declassified, for example. I know a form was just released, but that's one form. There has to be more to this than just one form. So, you kind of need to exist in this happy medium because that's really the only logical and rational place to be. Because otherwise, you're a believer, and you've just said, "I trust to the stars," and you sort of love them and you hug them, and it's the best thing in the world, and you just disregard all of the evidence that opposes them, or all the evidence that suggests something is missing. Or you go to the other side and you become a knee-jerk sort of anti to the stars skeptic. And anything they produce is, even if it's good, you consider, bad, or it's disinformation or purposeful misinformation or whatever. So there needs to be a happy medium, but we've become so bipartisan that anyone who expresses a happy medium or has a critical eye is outcast, right? They're kind of kicked from both sides. And I don't know how to live in this world.
Well, the vitriol, though, is what surprises me. As we got about 90 seconds left before we got to go to break here. MJ Banias is our guest tonight. The vitriol and the anger that people have, they are going all out on this. And I don't know whether to support the UFO community on this, who feels a little betrayed by To the Stars because they feel they haven't been told the entire story, or do I go with the To the Stars Academy and kind of support what they do and give them that pat on the back saying, look, you've already taken this further than the majority of people ever could dream of. There's that big debate, MJ, and we got about 35 seconds.
I think you got to walk in a sort of middle ground, right? You can pat To the Stars on the back all the time. I do it. I think they've done an amazing job in certain aspects. Like you say, they've gotten stuff done that we couldn't dream of. So, like, mazel tov to them. But I think we also still need to handle it with a critical eye. You can't just buy in outright. You need to remain objective. And I think that when you start talking like that, people automatically think, oh, you know what, if you're remaining objective or you're being critical, that's bad, and then they go after you, right? And like you said, there's a few characters who just spit bile, and that's all they know how to do, because they're not researchers. They don't produce or publish anything. They just spit bile, and that's their contribution, and it's unfortunate.
MJ Banias is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. We're talking UFO disclosure. Are we getting closer? Coming up after the break, we're going to ask MJ, what's TTSA done right? What have they done wrong? TerraObscura.net is his website. More Spaced Out Radio right after this.
Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com, where we own the night.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
We're bringing scientific thought to the paranormal. Hi there, this is Spaced Out Radio scientist Chris Cogswell. Join me, Chris Zuger, and Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month, where we break down the who from the woo when it comes to everything paranormal. We'll investigate and try to bring sensible answers to those straight and sometimes outlandish questions people have. Hey, not everything has an answer, but we'll do our best. Listen in to Reality Paranormal only on Spaced Out Radio.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio. Are you tired of being blocked, shadow banned, or placed in jail for simply posting your thoughts on social media? Social Media Freedom can take care of that for you. Social Media Freedom is the newest and one of the best free new apps that allows you the freedom to post what you want, when you want. It takes seconds to download from your app store. Come join the tribe at Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Coming up this September 21st and 22nd, all UFO eyes will be focused on Toronto for the 4th Annual Alien Cosmic Expo. Come listen to some of the biggest names and experiencers in ufology. Travis Walton, Paul Hellyer, Richard Dolan, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Randy Kramer, and Spaced Out Radio's own Dave Scott. Tickets are on sale now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com. Welcome back to the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters right here, the frozen Canadian tundra. Remember, if you've missed part of this show or others, you can always go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. We store all of our archives there for free. The only thing we ask in return is hit that subscribe button. And of course, our website currently under construction. It's spacedoutradio.com. We're making it bigger and better due to your demand. Tonight we are talking with ufologist, blogger, author, and I guess we could call you podcaster now, MJ Banias from terraobscura.net. MJ, give a quick shout out to your YouTube channel because that's good watching for a lot of people who have interest in this field.
I really appreciate it. Yeah, my YouTube channel is www.youtube.com/MJ Banias, just like it's spelled. And yeah, it's been a blast. I've had it for a few months now. Maybe I'm in month 3 or 4 of doing the YouTube, and I'm almost at 600 subscribers, and I'm trying to get to 1,000 by July 31st. So for all the listeners there, please,
let's give a push.
Yeah, it would be great. It's I drop 2 videos a week. Every Tuesday, I drop a pre-recorded video. Usually it's a review of a documentary or a book or a movie that relates to the paranormal in some way. Or I just sort of wax philosophical rather about the UFO community or the UFO phenomenon itself or something paranormal. So that's every Tuesday I drop a pre-record, and then every Thursday night at 8:30 p.m. Central, 9:30 p.m. Eastern, for all you Pacific cats, that's 6:30 p.m. Pacific. I have a live show called Cafe Obscura where I usually interview a guest or we just hang out and chat, and it's basically a conversation about sort of the various stuff that's happening in the paranormal and ufological world. So it's been pretty busy. It's been pretty fun, and I have to be honest, I'm really enjoying doing the videos. It's a different avenue for me. I'm a writer, not a video creator, but I've learned a lot in a few months, so it's been a blast.
Well, I think you've been doing great work, man. And the way you have grown exponentially over the last year to 18 months, man, it's been a lot of fun to watch, a lot of fun. And you just keep going. Hey, right before the break, we were talking about the vitriol that is happening in the ufology sector right now. A lot of people are taking sides, and I'm not sure if a side is necessary as much as it is trying to get the facts that are together. And it all revolves around the To the Stars Academy. MJ, when you look at To the Stars specifically, I'm curious to see what they have done right and what they have done wrong, in your opinion. Let's start off with the positives. What have they done well for the field of ufology to try and advance it?
Sure. I think it'll two things I would say are the two big positives. One, the release of the 3 videos. I know that the skeptics and the debunkers out there will sort of point and laugh at me a little bit, but I do think the 3 videos, as well as the testimony of the pilots and the people involved in those events, particularly the Nimitz event, from 2004, I think that is a very, very interesting and compelling sort of chunk of research that they've done, and to bring all that out into the open is definitely it's incredibly important, I think, to the UFO community and to the study of UFOs itself. So I give them mad props for bringing that all forward and putting that all together. The second thing is their connections, obviously, and this is DeLong as well as some of the other players in TTSA. They have a lot of connections to the media. They have a lot of connections to journalists, and working with those connections and using those networks to bring ufology and the UFO issue out into the public, more so, has also been a really large boon for UFOs and the UFO community. UFOs are very much a hot topic right now. People are clamoring to put out UFO-themed TV shows and books and documentaries. We are sort of living in a bit of an age of media attention and mainstream media attention to the UFO. So again, that is a positive. I think that there's a lot of benefit to that. So those are, I would say, the two big things that TTSA has been really successful with.
And in your opinion, what have they done wrong?
I remember when this first began 2.5 years ago, I wrote an article for Mysterious Universe, and I was I addressed it to Tom DeLonge himself, but it was more of an open letter. And my biggest concern was that To the Stars and Tom DeLonge and the crew of To the Stars, particularly Lou Elizondo, would take up a lot of airtime. So all of the smaller voices in ufology would be drowned out by the To the Stars sort of racket. And I think that sort of has come true. I think To the Stars really dominates a lot of our discourse now. They're a huge player, and they produce a lot of noise. Some of that noise is really good, and we should listen to it. But they produce a lot of noise in general. And like I said, the minor players, the minor voices, people like me, for example. We can't get sometimes a word in edgewise because it's always hovering around To the Stars. Nearly every conversation I have now in regards to UFOs somehow gets To the Stars sort of involved in that conversation, and it's tough to avoid. So I think that's one. I don't want to say it's a negative, but it's one thing that we need to be cautious about. They are starting to rule the ufological discourse and the narrative, and they've really taken control. And it's good and it's bad. And it's bad in that when you're controlling the narrative, you're sort of controlling how people interpret the narrative, and you're controlling the ideologies of that narrative. So they hold a lot of sway, and they hold a lot of power, and with great power comes great responsibility. And we can only hope that they're going to be responsible with that. Go ahead.
Yes. Well, I was just going to say that's very, very unique that you say that, because that's pretty much along the same lines as a major supporter of theirs, George Knapp, has said. And I'm going to rely a lot on what George Knapp stated a few weeks ago on this show in regards to the fact that they have almost gone out of their way to a fault with staying away from the UFO community. Like they didn't want to be a part of it. They didn't want to be to have the support of the UFO community. And George believes at a percentage, maybe 50, 60%, that is a big flaw in something that TTSA failed to look into. And they're having troubles trying to figure out why they are so hated. Maybe not on an organizational level, but on an individual level. There are people whose feelings are hurt here.
Right. Yeah, I think I agree. I think that the UFO community at times is very conspiratorial, and it's very smarmy. So the second somebody, this is in my book. The second someone big shows up, right? The second someone shows up and says, this is my UFO research and look what I've done, immediately the UFO community sort of turns on them, right? We're a good little anarchy, and we don't like people who are too big, because our immediate gut reaction is to rip them down. Because we think it's dangerous to our anarchy. There is no pope of ufology. Okay, Richard Dolan is the pope of ufology. He's self-appointed, but I respect the guy. but there's no real ivory tower of ufology, and there's no locus of control. No one's in charge. No one dictates who is in the UFO community and who isn't. So whenever you have a large organization like To the Stars show up, and a large organization like To the Stars that has a lot of sway in the popular media, has a lot of sway over the ideological reality of UFOs or the ideological interpretation of UFOs, the UFO community automatically goes to conspiracy. It automatically goes to this is some sort of government plant and disinformation campaign, and it goes to just general hatred. And I think Knapp was right. I think that, you know, how I would say the one problem is how do you deal with that? Like, is there anything To the Stars could have done to pacify the UFO community? And I'm not sure if it could have, because the problem is I think once you get kind of too close to the UFO community, you know, you might have a lot of major mainstream media sources starting to kind of shut off, right? They might not want to pay attention as much because it's just another sort of UFO club that's existed, you know, that's been around since the dawn of ufology, right? There's been tons of these little organizations. So, you know, they're walking a fine line, and I agree there's risks to both sides, and I'm not sure if they could have done anything differently.
What about inviting in at least one or two members of the UFO community? Whether it was Dolan, whether it was Grant Cameron, Linda Moulton Howe, somebody along those lines that's a mostly respected name in this field that's been around that could bridge that gap. I don't think that To the Stars Academy was prepared for the amount of hate mail they would receive over this. I thought they thought they would come in and they would, you know, kind of push everybody to the side and everybody would kind of follow their lead. And I think they're a little dumbfounded that it hasn't happened yet.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a really fair point. You know, why didn't they bring in, like you say, sort of the Richard Dolans of the UFO community to lend that sort of support, right? You know, as a sort of political maneuver. That's interesting. I haven't really, thought about it in that way, because To the Stars has always operated sort of outside of the UFO community, right? But it is sort of part of it in a sense because it does take up a lot of our time and a lot of our conversations. That's a fair point. You know, I have never actually thought about that I've never thought of it in those terms before. So let me mull it over.
No problem. Well, let me rephrase that question then. How should the UFO community be looking at this entire mess? Because that's what it is. It's like a very, very messy, childlike bedroom right now. And if you saw my son's bedroom, you'd know exactly what I'm talking about. Toys everywhere. And I want to play with this one. I want to play with that one. And they never seem to go back into place. And that's kind of what to me it looks like right now.
Right. And I would say that this has been transpiring since the 1940s in the UFO community. I think it's always been that. You've had countless sort of UFO organizations that sort of would show up and chaos would be caused, and then they would die out and disappear, and they'd be replaced by another UFO organization. And then, someone would come in to run that organization, and they used to work for the CIA. So all of a sudden, that organization can't be trusted because it's now a CIA run operation. And so then that one falls apart. And, I think we've kind of, this is sort of par for the course for ufology. I think To the Stars is just another organization that's shown up, and it's going to almost run that same sort of course. I'm reminded of George Hansen, who wrote the Trickster and the Paranormal. It's a book, and he has a chapter or sections of the book anyway, dedicated to sort of the rise and fall of the UFO organizations and clubs and investigative bodies. And he says, the phenomenon in some way acts as a sort of trickster, and it purposefully sort of creates conditions so that these organizations can't survive too long. They rise and fall fairly quickly, and they fall into disarray. So, my argument would be, maybe it's the phenomenon itself. Maybe that's what's causing this disruption. Just when you think things are going to be okay and stable, the phenomenon rolls in and just shakes everything up. I don't know. But there is definitely a sort of trickstery aspect to all this, because really, you look at the longest existing so far UFO organization, and that's MUFON. They're in a pretty big state of chaos all the time, and have been for the last several years. So, maybe it's just us, maybe it's the phenomenon, maybe it's a whole host of factors that are causing and sowing chaos.
MJ Banias is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio, talking disclosure, ufology, To the Stars Academy. Does it feel the ufology, the people involved, those who have had experiences or just have an inert ability to follow what is going on, do they have to grow up? Or is it the people who are supporting To the Stars in need of growing up?
Oh, man. You want me to get in trouble.
Well, no, I realize it's a pointed question, and I'm not trying to, get you to call out names or anything, but I think that there has to be a lot of growing up in the community.
I agree. I think, Go ahead. Oh, I was just going to say, I think we all need to grow up. I don't think that anyone is innocent. When it comes to the vitriol, like when it comes to actual sort of intelligent debate and intelligent discourse, and we're actually just having conversations, and no one's getting angry, and we're just chatting, like you and I right now, right? We're having an intelligent conversation, and you and I don't always see eye to eye or agree on stuff, but we're always respectful to one another, and we always respect each other's opinions, and that's it. And I think, when that happens, I think everyone's all right. It's when the vitriol comes in. It's when you no longer attack the argument, but you attack the person for not being on your side. I think all of us need to grow up a little bit, because that's occurring on both sides of the conversation, on both sides of the ufological aisle. So, yes, to answer your question, I don't think I don't think one group is more at fault than the other. I think we've all been sort of brainwashed a little bit by our own personal opinions and ideologies and paradigms and filters and just what we think. We sort of all suffer from a bit of cognitive dissonance, I suppose, and to let go of our personal beliefs and admit that we actually don't know and we're wrong is very difficult. But that also takes maturity to do that. So like I sort of said, I think growing up is an important aspect of this, and we all need to do it.
Well, we'll soon see if it actually happens, because in the end, there really is no choice. There's only two ways this can go. This can either disappear, just like every other UFO group has, even though it has the same players, or it could bring real change towards the world, and maybe a change that the world is not ready for. And in the next hour, because we only have you for one more hour, I do want to get into the whole disclosure movement. How close are we to any sort of announcement? But as we look at the way the To the Stars is, and the way the UFO people are in, or the anger and the vitriol people are in right now over this whole subject, to me, the biggest loser is those who are experiencers, those who have seen things or been taken or abducted, that just want a simple answer as to why them. I think they're the biggest losers out of all of this. What's your thoughts?
I agree with you wholeheartedly. Like we were talking about before, To the Stars is making a lot of noise. And like I said, a lot of voices get lost in that noise because they can't yell over it. And it's predominantly the voices of the people who are on the front lines, right? It's the experiencers, it's the witnesses, it's the field investigators who go out and meet with those people and collect their stories and try to bring them out into the open. But no one's paying attention because all of the time is being spent on To the Stars and talking about To the Stars and the vitriol that's getting spit over at people who believe or don't believe in the mission of To the Stars. So I agree with you. I think it's the little people who are engaging with the phenomenon that really need to be paid attention to, because they're the fundamental bread and butter of the entire UFO narrative, of the entire UFO discourse. We always need to go back to the experiencers and the witnesses. Without them, there is no phenomenon, right? Nothing is going on if they're not having those experiences or those sightings. So I think we need to be vigilant, and we need to make sure we're giving sort of credit where credit's due, and the experiences and the witnesses are the people that we need to start paying attention to more. And we run the risk of people simply shutting down because they don't want to get caught in this firefight.
1 minute to go. Are those people who are experiencers, have their voices been lost in your opinion?
I don't think they've been lost, but they've definitely become quiet. Like, they've become quieter. Because again, when we're dealing with that stuff, when we're dealing with the investigative work, it doesn't get the same airtime that To the Stars gets. Like, we need to be honest. To the Stars gets a lot of press, both in the ufological blogs, in the ufological press, and in the mainstream press. And we don't hear about the other cases that aren't related to the Stars phenomenon.
My friend, I'm going to get you to hold on tight here because we're going to go to break at the top of the hour. MJ Banias is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. If you haven't checked out his YouTube channel, do us a favor. He's trying to get to 1,000 followers. Be good, Spaced Out Radio listeners. Go to MJ Banias on YouTube. Go sign up for that. Hit that subscribe button. This guy deserves it. This is one of those people that you need to be listening to and following in this field. There's no BS. He gets to the point, and he only delivers facts. There's no speculation on his end. Website, terraobscura.net. MJ Banias, we got him for one more hour here on Spaced Out Radio. Everett Themer in hour 3. We'll be back with the second hour of Spaced Out Radio right after this. Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Coming up this September 21st and 22nd, all UFO eyes will be focused on Toronto for the 4th Annual Alien Cosmic Expo.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
The freedom to post what you want, when you want. That's the social media freedom you need. Social Media Freedom is the free app in your app store. No need to worry about going to jail or being shadow banned any longer. It's the freedom to say what you feel. The freedom to know Big Brother isn't watching. It's the way social media is supposed to be. Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free. Download from your app store today. Looking for the stories of the strange and weird that you will find hard to find anywhere else? Check out the SOR Newswire on our website. Our writers, led by Captain Shirk, are scouring the world for the oddest and most bizarre stories we can find. Everything from weird crime to suspenseful and paranormal. We're working hard for you to bring you the most intriguing news of your day. Check out the SOR Newswire at spacedoutradio.com today. The Call of the Wild is in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is one of the hottest bars and restaurants in the city. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose will rock you like a hurricane all night long. Great food with everything on the menu at $6.95 near the corner of Nelson and Granville. Get your horns up and come rock with us. The Moose Vancouver, the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio. Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
We're bringing scientific thought to the paranormal. Hi there, this is Spaced Out Radio scientist Chris Cogswell. Join me, Chris Zuger, and Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month, where we break down the who from the woo when it comes to everything paranormal. We'll investigate and try to bring sensible answers to those straight and sometimes outlandish questions people have. Hey, not everything has an answer, but we'll do our best. Listen in to Reality Paranormal only on Spaced Out Radio.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com, where we own the night.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR, where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother Is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com, where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com, and remember, Little Brother Is Watching.
Are you tired of being blocked, shadow banned, or placed in jail for simply posting your thoughts on social media? Social Media Freedom can take care of that for you. Social Media Freedom is the newest and one of the best free new apps that allows you the freedom to post what you want, when you want. It takes seconds to download from your app store. Come join the tribe at Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Welcome back to hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for being with us. Tomorrow night on the show, Geraldine Orozco is back for The Spiritual You. We get going at 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern at spacedoutradio.com. We welcome back everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates, KZFX 93.7 FM in Ridgecrest, California, WQEE 99.1 FM in Newnan, Georgia, UPRN 107.7 FM in New Orleans, and in Reedsport, Oregon, KDUN AM 1030. On the digital side, hi to everyone listening in on Revolution Radio and Deep Talk Radio. Good to have you with us. Remember, all of our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Mashelfridrosis. Mashelfridrosis is your password. Make sure you use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night, right here on the mighty SOR. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, currently under construction, but we're making it bigger and better due to your demand. Tonight we are talking with MJ Banias. He is one of the best up-and-coming ufologists, researchers in ufology. Whatever you want to call him. That's what he is. He's got a great blog at terraobscura.net. You can check out his YouTube channel, MJ Banias. Go subscribe to that. We highly recommend that one. We're talking ufology and disclosure tonight on the show. MJ, welcome back.
Thank you very much.
With everything that has happened in the last year and a half, the big word right now is disclosure. There are people saying that it could happen in 2019. There's a lot of people saying it's 2020, others saying 2022. It's very hard to put a timeline on anything like this. But in your opinion, with all the research you have done and the people whom you have talked to, are we that close?
Well, I guess it depends what we mean by disclosure. What is the definition of that term? And I think it really depends what your definition really dictates the timeline as well. If your definition of disclosure is simply the American government admitting that that UFOs exist, and by UFOs I simply mean unknown aerial phenomena. I don't mean UFOs that it's flying saucers from spacemen or it's interdimensional beings that traverse, who knows, the plane of consciousness via some weird disk or black triangle. You know what I mean? Like when we talk about that definition of disclosure, that's simply, the government saying UFOs are real in that there are things in the skies we don't understand. One could argue that's kind of starting to happen now, right? The Navy recently said, listen, we're going to reopen channels for servicemen and servicewomen to submit UFO sighting reports and stuff like that, right? We're going to try and sort of reduce the stigma in our own system and our own sort of body to ensure that people feel comfortable reporting when they see unknown objects in the sky. One could argue that's disclosure to a point, but the Navy and the military and the government isn't saying, it's aliens from outer space or it's interdimensional beings from here or there. So, if we're going to go by that very simple definition, disclosure is sort of going to be now, soon, within the next year. If we go to the point where we want to say, the government is going to admit or disclose that, yes, aliens are visiting our planet, that there's some sort of non-human other that is interacting with our species, and it's intelligent and it has technology and whatever, I'm not sure if that's going to happen anytime in the near future, and probably not in the too distant future either. I think that we're still pretty far away from that. So we need to sort of be clear on definitions, and we need to be clear that current disclosure as we understand it, and it's occurring right now, it's just simply saying that strange things occur in our sky sometimes, and we need to figure out what that is for security reasons. The whole alien, interdimensional, whatever, paranormal phenomena bit, we're not there yet.
Well, how many different definitions of disclosure are there, in your opinion?
Oh my goodness. We don't have enough time. No, I would say there's if we really boiled it down, there's a few. The one that I just talked about, just dealing with unknown aerial phenomena, not sure what it is, not saying it's aliens, it's just something weird. That's one definition. And that's sort of the most sort of, I guess you could say, sort of quote unquote normal or sane definition according to the mainstream public. There's obviously the sort of the alien other route. That would be another one, that we're being visited would be one version. The other version would be that we're working with them, right? Not only does the United States government know they're here, we're actively engaged with them in some way. We've, had communications with them, or some sort of deals have been struck. Another one would be, literally alien bodies in some basement somewhere that are presented. Yes, these crashes in Roswell and in Aztec, New Mexico and all that were real. And here's the evidence. So there's a lot of different sort of definitions, I think. The American government admitting that certain paranormal phenomena, saying something like the portals and creatures that were seen at Skinwalker Ranch are real phenomena. We've cataloged them. Here is actual evidence that can be peer-reviewed by scientists. That would be another version of disclosure. Some sort of paranormal, I guess, confirmation or an existence of confirmation rather of actual paranormal phenomena occurring. That could be another disclosure. So there's quite a few roads we could go down.
One of the big issues that I see in all of this is UFOs versus aliens.
Mm-hmm.
To me, maybe I'm way too black and white, but it has to be one or the other. If it's not anybody on this planet flying those ships, it's got to be somebody.
Sure.
Somebody, and we'll call them aliens, off-worlders, extraterrestrials, whatever you want to call them. They got to be coming from somewhere. Are we just denying the fact that there could be an extraterrestrial presence, much like Robert Bigelow said on 60 Minutes? Or are we literally just trying to separate these UFOs or UAPs, ATIPs, whatever you want to call them, from any type of extraterrestrial presence in order to make sure that the masses out there don't go hysterical knowing that we have been visited?
Sure. I talk about this in my book quite extensively, and I want to kind of stay away from the term extraterrestrial because it implies sort of flesh and blood aliens from another planet. Let's sort of just say a non-human other, right? So an intelligence that is smart. It is aware of itself, and it somehow interacts with us. So let's just kind of go there, because one could argue, some of the phenomena that occur at Skinwalker Ranch are not necessarily aliens, but they're some sort of interdimensional being or intelligence. Or Jacques Vallée has said, it could be some sort of control system we're dealing with. So let's just kind of go with this non-human other. I think there is a big push to keep these two ideas separate. And I think the main reason is because the notion of a non-human other, I'm not sure if it would necessarily cause hysteria, but it would challenge the very fabric of our society. We would start to really question whether the way we live our lives on a daily basis are these actually legitimate ways of living life. The second you bump into another thing like you start to recognize that maybe the way you're living your life is not correct or accurate or the way it ought to be, or could it be better? So we all, for example, go to work every day, like we sell our time in exchange for money, and then we pay a mortgage to large banks who really own our house. and we have to give up our time alive in order to pay this off so we can have these things. And we would start to wonder, is that really how we should live life? If there is some sort of intelligence out there that doesn't do that. There's no evidence to suggest that aliens or extraterrestrials or this non-human other, has mortgage payments to make. There's no evidence to suggest that they have money as a system, or government, or politics, or states even. So at the end of the day, would we see humans really begin to question the daily social and cultural systems that we've put in place, such as government, such as the idea of a nation or statehood, the idea of capitalism, the idea of economics? Would these start to kind of crumble away because there exists a non-human other that's as, if not more intelligent than we are, and it doesn't do this? So what are we doing wrong, and what is it doing right? And I think you'd see potentially a sort of a shaking down of the way we exist and the way we live our lives. I'm not saying it would be pandemonium, and I don't think the world would get thrown into total disarray, but people would start to really challenge these notions, and you would have the groups and people that are in charge, those who hold the control over the banks, the CEOs of major corporations, the billionaires, everyone who's in an elite position would become less elite. And the last thing anyone in power wants is that power spread around to others. You don't necessarily want democracy, because what occurs then is the people in charge lose their power and hold and control over everyone else. So I think that you do see a big separation. It's okay to have weird things in the sky, such as UFOs, that we don't necessarily know what they are. But once we start introducing the possibility that we're dealing with some other presence, then you start to go down this road. You don't want to shake things up too much, because you'll lose grip on the power and control you have over sort of society.
So that power and control, is that what this is? Is it's all about a power struggle? Or is it more about trying to bring a proper message to the field of ufology? Because in my opinion, and I know there's a lot of others who share this same opinion as me, the way that this entire process has gone has seemed very, very tight-lipped. It seems very, very controlled, very well thought out, very well perceived by numerous people out there. And when you take that entire response that they haven't included the field of ufology in this message, if we're talking to the stars here, what is the end goal here? Is it to control the entire message, or is it to bring disclosure the way they want to bring it, rather than just bringing it all out, much like a Close Encounters of the Third Kind?
Right. Well, I'm not going to say that To the Stars or the people involved in To the Stars are sort of the elites, in the sense that they, control the banks and they control the media. The people in To the Stars are elite in our community, because of who they are. But I wouldn't say they're necessarily elite sort of on a global scale. So there might be, on the To the Stars level, controlling the message might just be more for the purpose of, we want to be in control of the timeline on how we release our data. We have a History Channel TV show coming up, so we can't release too much early on because then no one's going to watch the show. So you want to control it from a media standpoint. To the Stars wants to control the release of data so they can profit from it. Because at the end of the day, To the Stars is a company that is trying to bring this information out, but it is also a media company trying to earn money to stay alive. So that's sort of a separate idea. I think on a more global scale, let's say, disclosure of alien life or some intelligent other, again, I'm not sure, I don't necessarily believe that there is some sort of cabal of elites who run everything. I think that there are a lot of people in positions of power who want to ensure they stay in power, but I'm not sure if they're always working together in some grand, vast conspiracy. I think rather it's more of a just general human nature. If I'm in charge, I want to stay in charge. I don't want to give up my power to anyone, because that's how humans operate. So when it comes to the UFO narrative, if you do have people who are quite wealthy and hold a lot of sway and power, maybe they are sort of conflicted in a sense in wanting to release information. I'm not sure.
MJ Banias is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. We're talking disclosure to the stars. You mentioned about, trying to control the message and trying to control the way it happens. And I realized that you also mentioned in the same breath that To the Stars is a for-profit commodity. And I don't think you could deny anybody trying to make a living or a business out of anything that they love to do. I think that's fine. I don't have a problem with that whatsoever. But for the majority of people out there who are experiencers, who have, seen UFOs, been on alien ships, been abducted, been implanted, so on and so forth, I really do believe that in the end, they deserve an answer. And I realize we kind of answered this at the end of the first hour, but this is where the disappointment is coming in with a lot of these people, man. And if To the Stars does not get it right with their television show, Unidentified, which is coming up here in just a couple short weeks, they could be in trouble. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I think people do want answers to their strange experiences, but I'm not sure if To the Stars or anyone is going to be able to provide that. I mean, at the end of the day, what experiencers experience and when abductees have those experiences, or when contactees or channelers, get the download or whatever, I'm not sure if any person or group on this planet is going to be able to come forward and sort of present, here's what happened to you. I think that the phenomenon hinges upon this massive I don't know. And I'm a firm believer that no one on this planet knows what's actually going on. I don't think anyone alive right now has the solution to the UFO enigma. I think if people stand up and say, I know what UFOs are, they're from this planet or they're this species or whatever, I think those people are most likely trying to sell you something. And they're just sort of acting as charlatans. Because even if you are an experiencer and you have an encounter, you don't necessarily know whether the encounter that you had was sort of totally objective, or whether whatever you encountered, that intelligence was sort of filtering information so you could understand it. I'm often reminded, whenever I talk to experiencers, I'm reminded of that scene from Contact with Jodie Foster. The aliens sort of expressed to her that she does not have the mental ability to understand who or what they are. Therefore, we're just going to appear like your dad to you, and sort of show you a version of reality that you'll understand, so that we can have a conversation. Because we're much more complicated than grays or reptilians or whatever. We're well beyond that. So they present themselves as her father, and they have a conversation on the beach that she always used to go to when she was a kid. So I think that's part of it, and I think that no person is going to be able to provide that, To the Stars included. So I don't think you should sort of hope that the History Channel program Unidentified is going to provide really any solutions to anything, only because the phenomenon is so much bigger and so much more complicated than I think you and I or anyone can really truly understand.
So who knows then? Who knows what is really going on? Is it Harry Reid? Is it Lou Elizondo?
In regards to the source of the UFO phenomenon?
Yes.
No one knows a damn thing. No one. I think they have their theories, they have their hypotheses and ideas, but they don't know. I don't think they have any evidence to suggest that like this is what UFOs are caused by. We all have our opinions and our thoughts and what we think it could be. I have an opinion as to what UFOs are caused by, but it doesn't mean it's true. That's just my opinion. So I'm going to say to your listeners and everyone out there, we need to be incredibly cautious. I don't think anyone knows what's going on because the phenomenon is so strange. I have investigated so many UFO cases that don't jive, don't make sense, are so convoluted and crazy sounding. And then I've investigated some that are so prosaic and simple that the entire puzzle doesn't fit. The pieces don't necessarily fit together ever. And we often have to be like toddlers. We have to sort of take our fists and make the pieces fit. But the problem is then you change the information, you change the data to make it fit into what you want it to be and not into what actually is going on.
That's surprising. That's surprising.
What?
No, I find that completely surprising because in a way, like, I understand with what you're saying. I do. But I guess I'm a little surprised that that's your reaction to it because there's been a lot of talk, and we have to call it talk. We can't call it evidence. We got to say talk about what has gone on at Area 51 or Wright-Patterson since Roswell or San Augustine or even going up to the Bob Lazar area or David Adair if you want to believe him. There's a lot that's gone on over there.
Yeah, I agree. There's a lot that's gone on, but the problem is I don't think we have actual factual and objective evidence that proves what's going on. We don't necessarily have bodies in a bunker, but let's even say we do. Let's say some flying saucer in 47 crashed in Roswell, New Mexico. That does not necessarily mean that every single UFO sighting thereafter is connected to that, right? That could have been a one-off. We could be dealing with multiple phenomena. So UFO events could be multiple things that are totally unrelated. So we also need to be cautious there. I personally believe that all UFO events are connected to sort of a bigger paranormal system, almost like Jacques Vallée or John Keel argued. There's sort of a big, strange intelligence, and it's using UFOs, and it's using Bigfoot, and it's using ghosts as sort of ways of filtering information for us so we can understand it. And that's just how we see it, but in reality, it's much more complicated. That's my personal sort of opinion on the matter. But I could be wrong. We could be dealing with, like I said, multiple different things going on simultaneously, and we just don't know.
And that's a hard one. We don't know. They
Exactly.
could have all the answers in the world, and even if they did, they're probably not going to tell us all about them. They don't want to give up all their secrets. That's the way I feel. But MJ, we got you for another 30 minutes here coming up on Spaced Out Radio. You're being a trooper tonight, man. I know you weren't feeling good, but we appreciate you doing this. And we'll talk more disclosure, UFOs, what's going on in the world. MJ Banias, terraobscura.net. Sign up for his YouTube channel as well, MJ Banias. We'd appreciate that because he's a good friend of this show. More Spaced Out Radio coming up.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Are you tired of being blocked, shadow banned, or placed in jail for simply posting your thoughts on social media? Social Media Freedom can take care of that for you. Social Media Freedom is the newest and one of the best free new apps that allows you the freedom to post what you want when you want. It takes seconds to download from your app store. Come join the tribe at Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Coming up this September 21st and 22nd, all UFO eyes will be focused on Toronto for the 4th Annual Alien Cosmic Expo. Come listen to some of the biggest names and experiencers in ufology: Travis Walton, Paul Hellyer, Richard Dolan, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Randy Kramer, and Spaced Out Radio's own Dave Scott. Tickets are on sale now at aliencosmicexpo.com. A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch. Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio. Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
We're bringing scientific thought to the paranormal. Hi there, this is Spaced Out Radio scientist Chris Cogswell. Join me, Chris Zuger and Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month, where we break down the who from the woo when it comes to everything paranormal. We'll investigate and try to bring sensible answers to those straight and sometimes outlandish questions people have. Hey, not everything has an answer, but we'll do our best. Listen in to Reality Paranormal only on Spaced Out Radio.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com. Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com, where we own the night.
We've passed the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, hanging out with all of you at SOR headquarters. Thank you so much for tuning us in. Reminder that if you've missed part of this show or others, you can always check them out for free in our archives, which are on YouTube, youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. The only thing we ask in return, hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, currently under construction. We are making it bigger and better due to your demand, so stay tuned. It's still a couple of weeks away, but we're getting closer. We're inching closer, according to the Gavinator, who is building it, which is really, really cool. MJ Banias is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. We're talking disclosure. MJ's website is terraobscura.net. That's terraobscura.net. And his YouTube channel, MJ Banias. I highly suggest you check it out. Do me the favor. Make sure you hit that subscribe button there as well. You won't be disappointed. MJ, welcome back.
Thank you very much.
Now, we have you until the top of the hour, and we appreciate you battling your cold in order to come and hang out with us tonight talking about this important subject in regards to the fact of the entire debate between the field of ufology and the mainstream media and who's siding with who's believing what. What's the message that we have lost?
It's a terrific question, because whenever I have to pause to think about something, you know it's good. I think we've lost really fundamentally that this phenomenon occurs all over the place, all over this planet. It occurs to a lot of people. Not sort of a few, but a substantial amount of people. We've lost that really you and I and everyone else are sort of key aspects of the phenomenon. So whatever is happening, it's you and I have to play a role somehow in it. And the UFO community and you know, people in the mainstream, whatever, the media, the way TV and movies depict this phenomena, right, is all tied together. And in this sort of battle, in the drama and the politics, we've lost sort of the very humanity of this whole phenomena. It's a very human thing to experience the unknown. It's a very human thing to experience anomalous events. It's sort of part of our fabric. So I think that's something we've lost in all of this.
How do we gain it back? Because there is no rule book. There is so many different factions going their own ways. Nobody's really following any agenda except their own. Is it just too far out of touch with everything now? You
know, that's such a tough question, because I have hope I have hope that this will sort of fix itself. I have hope that something will happen, that we will kind of return back to maybe the way it was, to a point of integrity. But again, it's always been pretty chaotic. It's always been this way. And maybe that's just, again, part of the equation. Maybe because it's such a human phenomenon and humans are so chaotic, maybe it's sort of required. Maybe ufology needs the chaos in order to survive. Maybe ufology, to stay as a separate field, needs to remain isolated and alienated from the mainstream. And the anarchy and the chaos of ufology is really what keeps us there. Because the mainstream doesn't like us, because we say a lot of crazy things and we do a lot of crazy things and we piss people off. And maybe, will ufology die if this study becomes mainstream? If the study of UFOs enters universities and the academic world and the scientific world, will that be the end of our community? So maybe it's a bit of a double-edged sword.
Renee has a question in the chat room. She's saying, but why should anybody be in control of disclosure? Just bring the info out.
And Renee has a really great point. Because again, do we really want the military or the government in control of this phenomenon, right? Because it's not necessarily the military all the time that's being affected by it. Normal, everyday, regular people like you and myself and well, I've never had an experience, but people like you and I, we're the ones who engage with this phenomenon the most. The vast majority of witnesses, the vast majority of experiencers aren't military. They're just civilians who are just driving one day to pick up their kids from dance class, and suddenly they see something that's totally unexplainable. So I think Renee's right. I don't think disclosure really is in the hands of the government. It's fundamentally in our hands. And as a community, I think we have a lot of say as to how this is going to play out. I don't think we're close to sort of a solution yet. And the enigma is going to definitely still remain an enigma for the foreseeable future. But she has a really strong point. It is up to us, I think.
Let's get to Nikki's question here, and she is asking, there are people who do know. They have signed non-disclosure agreements and still can't talk about the information that they know of yet. Do we dismiss them?
Well, I would ask, what does she mean by what do they know? And that's kind of a very important piece of the puzzle. Do they claim to know the ultimate source of the UFO phenomenon? That's a bold claim to make. They might know about some pieces of evidence or video footage or pictures or, some data analysis or something out there that they can't talk about because it's still classified or they've signed an NDA. That's one thing, because, little pieces of evidence will remain classified for sure. But I don't think there's sort of that one piece of smoking gun, quote unquote, evidence that's going to blow the lid off this thing and finally say, yep, this is what UFOs are caused by, or this is the source of the phenomenon. I think that, not sure if anyone has that solution, but I would argue that to a point she's right. I think there are some people out there who have signed, NDAs, or they have, clearances that don't allow them to talk about certain pieces of evidence that are very interesting. If we look at the 3 videos that were declassified through ATIP and TTSA, the FLIR, the gimbal, and the GoFast, I mean, those were classified at one point. So somebody did hold those secrets and those recently have been declassified. So how much more of that is out there, we can only speculate. I'm sure there is more evidence, though.
MJ Banias is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio, talking disclosure tonight on the show. Well, what do you think Luis Elizondo's holding back? He's the big name of this all. He's the new kid, that shiny piece of candy we all want to chew on for a while. What's he holding back with his NDA, in your opinion?
We know he worked in counterintelligence and counterterrorism for a long time, so he's probably got a lot of state secrets that he's not allowed to talk about that are not really related to the UFO question. While he did run ATIP, it was relatively informal. We sort of know enough about his background that his work at the Pentagon primarily had to do with, counterterrorism and counterintelligence. So, how much of his work was actually set for, investigating UFOs, I'm not sure, because that's not public yet. But what does he know? I'm not sure. Like I said, I'm confident that he has undoubtedly seen a few more pieces of evidence than the rest of us have, and those pieces of evidence, for whatever reason, still remain classified, and he can't necessarily disclose anything, because the last thing you want to do is lose your clearance, and not only that, potentially commit treason.
True. But he also knows who his replacement is.
Sure, and that could be classified.
But if we're trying to be open, wouldn't it behoove him and to the Stars Academy to maybe not name names? I mean, you can't call people out, but to at least start confirming a lot more than what he has. Because one thing, and I've watched Luis speak a lot on this show, and from all intents and purposes, I will say this, from everybody whom I have talked to who has met him, says he's a heck of a guy. He really is a good guy. But the problem that they have is, everything is, I can't say, I don't know, could be, and that's where a lot of people are having some issues here. A lot of people are having a lot of issue with that. And it's the same old. Like, people just want answers, and it's tough when you can't get any. That's the problem.
Right. No, and I wholeheartedly agree. I think the UFO community wants information quickly, and it wants it immediately. And the problem is, at the end of the day, Mr. Elizondo is not going to... He's not going to he's not going to violate his duty to the clearance that he's been granted. I mean, so I appreciate that the UFO community wants answers, but you can't ask a man to throw his life away and potentially serve jail time just so you can get a name, right? That's an unreasonable request to make of someone. If I knew all of the secrets to the UFO phenomenon, but I would no longer be allowed to see my kids again because I'd be thrown in a prison cell, I'm keeping those to myself because I want to spend time with my family. So we have to be cautious, and we have to be respectful as well of while he might have a few secrets, he's taken a big risk doing what he's doing, and one slip up of verbiage could lead to a lot of problems for him. So I think like I said, we have to be cautious with that.
Do you believe then that he does have the answers? Or at least more than what we've seen so far from the 3 videos?
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of information still out there. Probably there's a lot more witness testimony. There's probably a lot more events, like experiences and sightings and engagements with anomalous objects or anomalous entities, let's say, that are still classified. In my book, I interviewed Dr. Kit Green, and he's working on a medical study. He's been working on a medical study for the last several years concerning military personnel who have been injured by unknown aerial vehicles. So I interviewed him for this book, and we talked about it at length, and it's all in the book. So I'm not going to spoil it too much because I want you to go out and buy my book. But ultimately, a lot of the locations that these individuals were injured at are classified locations. They exist in the Middle East. They exist in South America. A lot of them are proving grounds. A lot of them are sort of bases that are used for training special forces in the field. So while there's a lot of information out there, I think there's a lot of cases of let's say UFO events that sort of haunt the military. They have occurred in places, or they've occurred to people that you're not really allowed to talk about or know about because that's all classified information. So I provide some details in my book in regards to some of these locations that he's allowed to talk about. But a lot of them, he said, I can't tell you these people's names. They're protected by a whole bunch of laws. And, that's it, period. End of conversation. So it's quite interesting to know that there's 180 people out there who have been injured by unmanned or unknown aerial vehicles. But you'll never get to know who they are, simply because a lot of that information is protected.
So who does the public believe when it comes down to it?
Yeah, that's a big question. Who do you believe? Because again,
it is.
The UFO community has a long history of trusting some people and then realizing you can't. William Moore is a great example from the 80s, right? He was a well-respected UFO researcher. He was most likely the most popular and famous UFO researcher between, 82 and, 88 or 89, whenever he came out and said he was, working with Doty. So people trusted him for a long time. He had an impressive CV within the UFO community, and he built a lot of trust. And, everyone knows the story, right? One day he stood up on stage at the Aladdin Hotel and basically gave his final speech, and he disappeared. And one of ufology's biggest stars and most trusted members literally had to change his hotel room because people were after him, and he quickly left Vegas the next morning. So who do you trust? I don't know, man. That's the $1 million question sometimes.
Well, I mean, I think the public needs to try and figure it out.
Oh, I know.
They are being pulled in so many different directions right now that I feel sorry for anybody who has that going on, because if they didn't have those reservations, okay, whether it's people with radio shows like ours who are telling them, MJ, believe us because we're the ones who are telling the truth, or they see bloggers and vloggers saying the exact same thing and making these bold claims that they're the only ones who are telling the truth out there. This is where the BS comes in. And this is where a lot of the public's like, well, damn, I can't trust MUFON because MUFON, every time there's money around, the public is feeling that MUFON goes running where the money is. Then you have, and that may or may not be true, all right? Then you have the groups who don't like To the Stars, those who are pro To the Stars. You have people who are claiming some real heinous things about the government and the cabal and everything. And the experiencer just wants to say, who can I listen to, have a decent conversation with it? But nonetheless, MJ, this is where a lot of the confusion comes. And we read it in our chat rooms all the time when we talk about this subject, because we do talk about it a lot.
Yep.
And I don't really know what to tell people at times.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if I wish I had an answer. I wish I could point to someone and say, this person knows the score, because I think we're all, maybe at least all of us who are honest. I think we dance around it a bit. I think we try and propose our own ideas and our own theories and our own hypotheses, and we provide evidence for them. And we say, maybe we should look at it this way, or have we considered looking at UFOs from this angle? And we sort of speculate and hypothesize. But I'm not sure if anyone has sort of the complete answer. And not only that, you don't know who they're talking to, and you don't know who they're reading. And there's a lot of liars and charlatans out there. There's a lot of people who who just simply enjoy sowing chaos into our little community just for the sake of fun. So, to your listeners, I would say you just have to keep an open mind, but you have to also remain incredibly critical and incredibly vigilant. If someone is saying, here's a litmus test. If somebody is saying, here's my answer, I know what the answer is, but you have to give me money, that's a good place to time to say, well, hold on a second, let's take a step back here. And maybe, approach it with slightly more criticism than open-mindedness. But yeah, Dave, I don't know. I don't know who to tell them to go trust. Like I said, we're all trying to piece this puzzle together, and we don't have all the pieces. So we're not really sure.
It does suck. It does suck right now.
It does suck, but it's also, you know what, we also can't take it too seriously. It's UFOs. It is supposed to be fun as well. You have to enjoy it a little bit. You have to be able to laugh at it a bit. I think we've become very serious in this, and we can. It's okay to, it's okay to have a little foolishness in the way we approach this, right? It's nice to just chill out and you know what? No, it's at the end of the day, it's just UFOs. Let's just have some fun with this as well, and not take things sort of too seriously either.
MJ, we got about a minute left with you tonight before we go to Everett Themer in hour number 3. Let everybody know where they can find your book, your website, and your YouTube channel.
Thanks. That'd be great. My book just came out a few weeks ago. It's called The UFO People, A Curious Culture. You can find it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and any other place that sells books. My website, I have 2 of them. If you want just to kind of find me, it's www.mjbanias.com. And from there, you can find links to all of my social media, my blog, terraobscura.net, as well as my YouTube channel, youtube.com/mjbanias. The best way to find me, though, is just hit me up on social media, and I will like and follow whatever, and I'll talk to you and send me a message. Feel free. I respond to all of my emails and all of my messages. If you have a crazy story to tell me, I love hearing them. I love collecting stories. So yeah, that's the place to find me. If you're on the YouTube channel, please click subscribe.
My friend, we'll talk very, very soon. Thank you so much for coming on the show tonight. MJ Banias, everyone. Coming up in hour number 3, Everett Themer is going to join us. He's been doing some numbers. They might interest you in regards to ufology and the SOR Newswire and Thought of the Day. All in a jam-packed hour 3 coming up.
Come hang out with Spaced Out Radio, where we own the night. This is Carl. You can follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, and during the show, use the hashtag Spaced Out Radio to chat with us live. On Instagram, at Dave Scott SOR. On Facebook, give our page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. SOR archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. Come join us, or I will come join you. See you at your window.
At spacedoutradio.com, we have a little bit of everything for you to stay up late. So while you're there, check out our SOR Newswire, where our team brings you stories of the weird and strange to the WTF from around the globe. News on Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, Darwinian-type crime tales. It's the stories that the mainstream media usually won't touch. Well, we got them all on the SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com. Looking for the stories of the strange and weird that you will find hard to find anywhere else? Check out the SOR Newswire on our website. Our writers, led by Captain Shirk, are scouring the world for the oddest and most bizarre stories we can find. Everything from weird crime to suspenseful and paranormal. We're working hard for you to bring you the most intriguing news of your day. Check out the SOR Newswire at spacedoutradio.com today.
The Call of the Wild is in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is one of the hottest bars and restaurants in the city. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose will rock you like a hurricane all night long. Great food with everything on the menu at $6.95 near the corner of Nelson and Granville. Get your horns up and come rock with us. The Moose Vancouver, the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Canada's largest UFO conference is ready to roll in Toronto this September 21st and 22nd at the Alien Cosmic Expo. This year is about the experience. Listen to the stories of Dave Scott, Travis Walton, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Ryan Stacey, Richard Dolan, Leslie Mitchell-Clark, and more. Get your tickets now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
On the first Tuesday of every month, I encourage you to come along for a journey with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You. Together, we will take a look at how to access the highest expression of yourself and change your life. Consciousness, ET contact, health, and wellness, we can talk about it all. So come along for a spiritual ride with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You, only on Spaced Out Radio.
We are getting ready to relaunch the SOR Space Travelers Club at spacedoutradio.com. For $5 a month, you can join us for a plethora of features found nowhere else. Hang out in a private chat room during the show and after party. You can check out some exclusive content and a store specifically for you, as well as a private listener forum where you can post your thoughts, stories, and pictures. The SOR Space Travelers Club, coming soon to spacedoutradio.com.
Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
The freedom to post what you want, when you want. That's the social media freedom you need. Social Media Freedom is the free app in your app store. No need to worry about going to jail or being shadow banned any longer. It's the freedom to say what you feel. The freedom to know Big Brother isn't watching. It's the way social media is supposed to be. Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free. Download from your app store today.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother is Watching.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Find your escape where time has no limits. It's about living today and cherishing the heritage of yesterday. A spirit of adventure for what is new, with the nostalgia of the past. Your timepiece is a reflection of who you are. Life surrounded by beauty from the world around us to the soul within. EscapeWatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Welcome back to the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio. Tonight, I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for being with us. Tomorrow night on the show, Geraldine Orozco is here for the Spiritual You. She's going to bring in some friends as well. 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern at spacedoutradio.com. Hi to everyone listening in on UPRN 107.7 FM in New Orleans, KDUN AM 1030 in Reedsport, Oregon, KZFX 93.7 FM in Ridgecrest, California, and in Noonan, Georgia, WQEE 99.1 FM. On the digital side, hi to everyone listening in on Revolution Radio and Deep Talk Radio. Good to have you with us. Remember, all of our archives are free. All you got to do is sign up for our YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button at youtube.com/spaced out radio. We would definitely appreciate that. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Machelfidrosis. Machelfidrosis is your password. Make sure you use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on the mighty SOR. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, currently under construction, but we're getting closer because we're making it bigger and better, all to your demand. Hour 3 tonight, we got Everett Themer coming in. He's been doing some work behind the scenes on his own, just hanging out, looking at some numbers. Not really numbers, but information regarding the controlling of the media narrative in the field of ufology. Very interesting topic because we have discussed that numerous times on this show, Everett, including during the roundtables, which you have been a part of. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing fantastic. Thank you. Doing absolutely fantastic. What have you been noticing in regards to the controlling of the media narrative?
You know, with having a little bit of downtime, I kind of stepped back from everything and just sort of looked and watched as kind of an outsider. And I've actually sort of noticed a lot of different things. I mean, we talk about how, if you want to pick on To the Stars, that how they're only allowing certain people to kind of get interviews with members of their organization and that kind of thing. And then I started looking at everything from sort of a sociological point of view. And I've kind of started looking at this from a point of view of this isn't necessarily what we think it is at all. And MJ had brought up a lot of good points, but one of the things, and we talk about it all the time because it's one of the most famous cases in the world, is Roswell. And we talk about it to the point where nobody really wants to hear about it, but we keep talking about it. And it became such a famous case. And the government had all kinds of things to say about it. And they issued press releases and news reports and things like that and made claims and then retracted them. But nobody ever looks at, like, San Augustine. That happened at the exact same time. And I started to wonder why. And then I looked at other different aspects of different cases. And I've started to notice, or at least see a pattern in that every time we're looking at something, we're missing something else. I hate to say that it's like a constant misdirect, but I feel like we are, in a way, constantly being pushed to look at something else, just like you and MJ discussed the turmoil in the UFO community. We don't really need that, but it seems to be a product of something. It's being stirred up almost intentionally so that we kind of miss something else.
And that's the big thing. What are we missing? Where are we going wrong as a field of ufology where there's all this sniping and arguing and division? Is this maybe part of the agenda that you have looked into?
I'm starting to think it is. I think that maybe none of this has to do with the To the Stars Academy as an outlet for disclosure, but rather that they're an outlet sort of distraction. And we can harp on the fact that they're a media company. We can pick them apart, but maybe they're just a tool, just part of the grand scheme of what's really going on. And the more I dig into this, the more I look at it, the more I'm beginning to think that that's the case.
That's a big, big way to think about that. That is just, we've talked a lot about the media narrative that I've been pushing, that I really strongly believe that there is something wrong with the way they have approved and disapproved their own media agenda. Yet, in your study of the history of UFOs, let's say going back to Roswell, have there been any similarities to what we're seeing today compared to what happened in yesteryear?
I don't know if you can specifically say similarities, but if you let's look at this from a big picture kind of perspective. And you look at Roswell, you obviously have all kinds of media attention around that while other things were going on. But then you have Eisenhower's treaty, or alleged treaty, where he met with aliens and created a treaty where I don't remember exactly what the specifics were, but he allegedly met with aliens. And that was in a time when we were, as a society, sort of in we trust the government, we'll take what the government says at face value. But then you keep on rolling with different aspects of the government, different things that have happened, and things kind of get ramped up. I mean, even around Bob Lazar, there was some friction, some media, criticism, and rightly so. But this just kind of feels like it might be the societal response, or what they think has to be the response to people looking at UFOs. I'm not saying it exactly the way I should, but if you understand what I mean.
Getting there. Who are the players then that are covering this up? Is it just To the Stars? Is it the mainstream researchers whom we've seen over the last number of decades that are not getting their point across? Is it about the division and tension that we talked about with MJ earlier on in the show that is causing a lot of this? What's your thoughts on that? Where does it break down for you?
Well, it really depends on who, we have to go back and look at who's controlling the strings. And depending on who you decide is controlling the strings, sort of changes what you're asking. I mean, we could go all the way back, deep in and say it's the deep state, that the government knows something, and this is entirely designed to keep us looking at To the Stars and that kind of product, to keep us from noticing something that might be right in front of us. But we could also go down the road and say, well, this is an opportunity for a media company to create some product while they're disrupting sort of the general community while the government is doing something else. It could be alien related. It could be Defense Department related. It could be anything. It's really tough to say until you kind of pick a group or organization and decide that they're going to pull the strings, and then you kind of have to investigate it or look at it down that path and see where it leads you, and then maybe pick another potential group or organization and follow that and see kind of what makes the most sense.
Do you think they are liking the malice and the diversity that ufology has become? Is that good for the field?
I think for the field it's bad, but I think there are a lot of people involved in this that would be considered players that not only like or want the vitriol, as you guys said, the diversity, the anger. I think that they're intentionally stirring it up.
Everett Thiemer is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Is it just a media issue, or is this a ufology issue?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think that there is, well, when you say ufology issue, do you mean like MJ had kind of made that division of there are the minor players and the major players, and he had mentioned that. When you say it's a ufology issue, what exactly do you mean?
Well, in regards to the way that, well, if you take To the Stars, the way they have kind of segregated themselves from the field, which has caused a lot of tension in both the pro and con side of what they are doing.
Yeah. Okay. What exactly are you getting at again with the players? Okay. They've segregated themselves, but they kind of have that right. I mean, they are, again, a company. We do have to remember that their goal is to make a profit at some point. So in a way, it makes sense for them to segregate themselves, because regardless of what's happening, I believe, in my opinion, somebody is going to make a profit out of To the Stars.
So who's at fault here? Is it the players inside the government who want to control the initiative? Is it the To the Stars Academy, who could be the public fall guys, especially in the field of ufology? Is it people who are experiencers and not really paying attention to what is going on outside of their own experience? Is there blame to be put or to be had on something?
If you're going to say it's anybody's fault, I think it's a little bit of everybody's fault. But I also think that one of the major things at fault are mainstream media. They have an opportunity to look at these topics. I mean, they always love that drama story. I mean, everything on the news is exciting or, impactful or dramatic. You can look at the community, the UFO community in general, and nobody's touching it. Even if they just wanted to explore some of this and talk about maybe some of the issues or problems, they're just completely ignoring it. I mean, except for a few people, Tucker Carlson, he regularly has some people on. But for the most part, if you look at any mainstream media outlet, they're not really grabbing onto a lot of the things that they should be or could be grabbing onto.
So what's the mainstream media missing? Are they missing the entire story? Do they even want this story? Because I'm a firm believer that they don't. They don't believe it's a story at all.
I agree with you. I don't think they think it's a story. I think that maybe to a certain degree, the whole entertainment, and MJ had mentioned this about, there are so many people out there creating things for the UFO community that maybe to a certain extent, they look at this as just almost like it's being pushed back to the fringe because there's so much out there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How do you change it, though? How do you change it, though? How do you get that public perception, especially in the mainstream, to change when there's all this inner bickering?
That's a good question. And I don't think, first of all, I don't think it's possible to stop the inner bickering. The only way to do that would be for those people who are kind of intentionally stirring things up to step away. And I don't think that there's anything that would motivate them to do that, whether they think they're right, whether they're doing something for a different agenda or motive. There's no real reason for them to step away. So I don't know how you would do that.
Do you look at it as we need to start supporting a group like TTSA a little bit more then? And trying to, say these guys are the leaders. These are the guys who are getting the mainstream attention, whether it's Fox, whether it's CNN, the New York Times, whomever it may be. Is that where we have to lead and kind of jump on the bandwagon the way a lot of people have and have been promoting them, much like this Young Guns group that has a lot of smart young UFO researchers in it?
As an outsider, I don't know that I would say jump on the TTSA bandwagon. But at the same time, I think people need to look at it with a fair but skeptical eye. I mean, there are a lot of questions that need to be answered. And early on, I was very guilty of just kind of assuming that it was going to be another one of those, well, they're here, they're going to make some money, and they're going to go away. And I still believe that could be a big part of it and a big aspect of it. But I think that there's more. And when I say we look at it with an open or skeptical eye, I'm not saying be supportive of it. I'm saying let's begin to pick it apart for what it really is.
How do we start that, though? Does it become a little uprising from inside ufology, or do you start tackling the mainstream and the fact that they haven't been very good at covering this story at all? How do you start?
You know what? That's actually a good point. I think if I were going to do it, I would probably start. I like to ask questions. I hate answering them. I like to ask them. I think I would start with doing something like you just suggested, with going and talking to the mainstream and asking why. Why isn't it a story? Why aren't you looking at this? Find out what's wrong. Even if you don't, or I don't, or whoever does it, even if they don't get the answers they want or expect, if the mainstream media comes back and says, you know what, we don't cover this because there have been so many people that have faked things, or we just don't trust this or we don't trust that, then regardless of what To the Stars is doing, that's information that the UFO community can take back and say, okay, we know this is the problem, or this is one aspect of the problem. Maybe some of us can work to fix it. And I think regardless of what happens, that would be a good thing.
Well, we'll have to see what happens. We got about 4 minutes left with you tonight, Everett. Before, are you going to stick around for the news? Going to hang out with us?
I'd love to stick around for the news. I got a business dealing going on with Nigeria right now to get their astronaut back, but I'd love to stick around with the news. Yes.
Well, we'll get into that. I appreciate that. But getting back to the whole message, what's the best message for the public out there? Is it just sit back and wait the way we have on this show been telling people since the New York Times article came out? Because I think people, especially the experiencers, are getting a little antsy at trying to figure out who to believe, who they can put their faith in, and who they can actually rule out as not being part of the agenda, so to speak.
Well, I think we're getting to the point where it's hard for anybody to sit back and wait at this point. I think the average person, even somebody who's a blogger or that kind of person and has a great interest in it, I don't know if one person's actions can really change anything or do anything, but I think, I don't know. You know, it's so tough. We're in such sort of a stasis right now where everybody is just kind of looking to the stars, waiting for the next thing. Maybe the best thing for people to do is move past to the stars and look at other things or investigate, other outlets, consider other opinions, move on to something else, because To the Stars has been sort of dragging us on for year and a half now?
Pretty close.
Yeah.
Pretty darn close. I mean, we're getting there. We're literally getting there. And at some point, okay, let me ask you this, because I asked MJ this. In regards to the TTSA's Unidentified show coming on, this 6-episode show that starts in just a couple of weeks, what happens if they don't bring in anything new?
I think that they will weather the storm and push it down the road and just keep going forward. I'm not expecting anything new out of the show, to be honest with you. After the History Channel's running of that Project Blue Book, I have a hard time having any faith that something of actual truth or value is going to come out of one of these shows. I mean, I'm sure you're familiar with Project Blue Book, and pretty much they turned that into the X-Files by the second episode. There was very little fact left in a lot of that. So I'm, to be honest with you, not even really all that excited about whatever happens on the History Channel with this next show.
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting. Everett, you got to keep pushing for this, because I think you got a story there, man. I think you got a story. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say, we're going to keep digging.
That's all you can do. And to the public, you just got to be vigilant. See through the crap. I think that's something that we've been saying and stressing on this show for a long time. So you just got to see through the crap, and you have to just continue on in finding your own personal disclosure, whatever happens with that. I don't know how else to put it. That just seems the way we need to go. Everett, thank you so much, man. And we'll talk to you on the other side with the news, as we got the SOR Newswire coming on up on Spaced Out Radio right after this. We got some good stories, and we'll get to the thought of the day. Everett's going to stick around and join us. Been an interesting night. MJ Banias, the first 2 hours of the show. Everett Themer breaking down some of his logic in regards to controlling the media. And now, thought of the day, SOR Newswire. We'll get to it right after this.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch. Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today. Coming up this September 21st and 22nd, all UFO eyes will be focused on Toronto for the 4th Annual Alien Cosmic Expo. Come listen to some of the biggest names and experiencers in ufology. Travis Walton, Paul Hellyer, Richard Dolan, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Randy Kramer, and Spaced Out Radio's own Dave Scott. Tickets are on sale now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
Are you tired of being blocked, shadow banned, or placed in jail for simply posting your thoughts on social media? Social Media Freedom can take care of that for you. Social Media Freedom is the newest and one of the best free new apps that allows you the freedom to post what you want, when you want. It takes seconds to download from your app store. Come join the tribe at Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free.
Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com, where we own the night.
We're bringing scientific thought to the paranormal. Hi there, this is Spaced Out Radio scientist Chris Cogswell. Join me, Chris Zuger, and Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month, where we break down the who from the woo when it comes to everything paranormal. We'll investigate and try to bring sensible answers to those straight and sometimes outlandish questions people have. Hey, not everything has an answer, but we'll do our best. Listen in to Reality Paranormal only on Spaced Out Radio.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio. We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott. Great to have you along for the ride tonight. Remember, if you've missed most of this show or others, you can always catch them on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. That's where we store our archives. You can check them out for free. The only thing I ask for in return is for you to hit that subscribe button. Also, our website, spacedoutradio.com, currently under construction. We're making it better and bigger, all because of your demand. So stay tuned for that in the next couple of weeks. We're going to get to the weird, the wacky, the WTF in the SOR Newswire, brought to you by Paranoia Magazine. The news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire at the back end of every show. All of our news put together by the SOR Newswire and our news director, Captain Shirk. And tonight, Everett, as Everett Themer continues to join us, we got some pretty interesting stories tonight. How about this one? How about this one? This was just announced yesterday. Remember the Elephant Man?
Yes, I do.
Joseph Merrick was his actual name. He had an unmarked grave. And he died like 130 years ago. And for over most of that time, people have been trying to figure out where his grave is. Well, guess what? They found it.
Really?
It's kind of cool. Yeah.
How did they find it?
Well, author Jo Vigor Mungovan says she has now discovered Merrick's soft tissue was buried in the City of London cemetery after he died in 1890. So, literally, they did a bunch of testing.
Wait, can I ask a question?
Sure.
You said his soft tissue.
Yeah.
That implies to me that his bones were buried somewhere else. Am I missing something?
I don't know.
Huh.
So basically what she did was she went to the City of London Cemetery and Crematorium, started looking up at records where two Jack the Ripper victims are actually buried. She decided to do in an 8-week window around the time of his death. And on page 2 was Joseph Merrick. as she looked in the records. And the detailed Victorian records, according to Mrs. Vigor Mungovan, makes it 99% certain that the same Joseph Merrick was the Elephant Man. And due to that, yeah.
But there's no DNA testing or anything that's been done. This is just kind of, they found a grave with somebody named Joseph Merrick, and they're making that assumption or that connection.
They're making that connection that this is his grave. And according to the research that the author has done, it seems a little too coincidental because I guess back then there wasn't a lot of Joseph Merricks in London.
I could see that.
Yeah, so they found, and his headstone is like a little 4x4 brick with a little piece of wood now that has his name beside it and a numbered plot. That's it.
The thing that sounds weird about that, though, is with what he had, wouldn't the bones, if he were buried, excuse me, wouldn't the bones have been, you would have been able to identify the problem via his bones. But they're saying there's just the soft tissue. That's a little troubling to me.
They kept his skeleton. His skeleton is in Leicester. Okay, but they buried his soft tissue to keep his bone structure, and it shows a horrible curvature of his spine and the deformation of his skull. It's pretty sad that anybody would have to live like that. You know, his one hip bone was probably triple the size of his other hip bone. Like this guy, poor guy, I mean, he must have been in just pain every single day. But nonetheless, they found him. They figured that. Let's move on. Boeing's in trouble. Don't know if you heard this. So you know how they shut down all of those 737 MAXs after a couple of crashes?
Yeah.
Well, I wonder how much Boeing is going to be sued for this. Because apparently the problem that they were having was known months previous. They kept a safety feature found on earlier models from functioning on the MAX, though it isn't clear if the feature would have prevented either crash. But Boeing's executives decided to keep it quiet from the airlines. And apparently they did not learn about the issue until after the October 29, 2018 Lion Air crash. So they say. Well, what's the story here? Did they know about it or did they not? Because there's a lot of dead people right now and a lot of injured people who are wondering about these inconsistent explanations from Boeing.
Hasn't one of the explanations been that it was a software issue?
Yes.
Is that the one they're sticking with or going with?
Well, that's the one according to the FAA. But the problem that they're having right now is they're saying Boeing didn't share the information about the problem with a cockpit safety alert system for about a year because they wanted to sell these 737 MAXs. They wanted to take over the market again or keep the stronghold in the market over Airbus. And so what's happened here is they're saying, well, what's the story here? Did you know about it or not? Reports are saying they did know about it, but the Boeing's executive is saying they didn't hear about the issue until after the first crash of Lion Air.
That's a tough one to, gosh, I hate to even comment on that and speculate on that because there are some issues there. I mean, if it turns out that it was a software problem, it's troubling to me that that's something that should have been solved and figured out through simulations long before the aircraft even went into manufacture.
Well, you know what? It's a competitive area. And airline companies now, we're not looking at millions of dollars. We're looking at billions of dollars of contracts. Billions. I mean, for an airline to replace its fleet of 747s, you're looking at in excess of $40-50 billion just on your long-range aircraft. Never mind your smaller aircraft of 737s to get you across continent.
Right.
Or from city to city. This is where it gets a little bit eerie. I mean, you're playing with people's lives. And it looks like in this case, it may come down to the almighty dollar than it was about safety.
I hate to hear that because Boeing's based here in Chicago, and I hate to hear that somebody could have prevented this.
Well, we'll soon see. I know this story isn't going to go away. Let's move over to Arkansas, where this is actually kind of cool. Very few people actually get to live to 100. But when it's identical twins, those averages go way down. But this is what's happened with George and James Morrow. And both, you know what, you look at their pictures, they both look like they're in their late 70s, early 80s. For 100 years old, these guys look good. I mean, we could only wish to look that good at 100.
I don't look that good now.
They were born in 1919. Their older sister, Mabel, is still alive at 105, and their younger sister is still alive at 98. What's the secret to a long life, they said? Always be honest and truthful. Don't be afraid to work, and leave the booze and wild women alone.
I don't know that I buy that. Because so many of these people that get up there in age like that, you hear the stories of the ones that, their philosophy was eat bacon and drink a beer every day. And that's what got them to life. I think this is a case of some fantastic genes. That is an incredibly lucky family.
Incredibly lucky. I mean, you think between the four siblings, there's over 400 years of life there, man.
Wow.
403 years of life. That's amazing.
The odds of that have to be astronomical for all four of them to make it to live that long.
Up here, when you hit the centennial, you actually get a letter autographed from the Queen congratulating you. Because we're still monarchy up here. Yes. Canadian tradition.
Well, down here, the president will send you a letter for certain milestones. I think if you want for your 25th and 50th and 75th anniversaries and specific birthdays, they'll do that down here too.
That's kind of cool. We're going to end this off in Haines City, Florida. Now, a man with a blood alcohol level of 0.241, legal is 0.08, was arrested on DUI charges after he crashed his riding lawnmower into a police cruiser. Oh, it wasn't a good day for old Gary Wayne Anderson. He was arrested, and charges of driving under the influence after crashing his lawnmower are now on the books. So, here's what happened. The cruiser was parked at Rodriguez Fashion while the officer was tending to another matter. Then he heard a loud noise outside and saw Anderson on a riding lawnmower pulling an attached trailer. There was minor damage to the rear plastic portion of the bumper. Anderson told police that he hit the vehicle because he didn't cause any damage and that he was drunk. Anderson was unable to complete a field sobriety test and claimed that he had been poisoned by police and asked to be taken to hospital. He was taken to Heart of Florida Regional Medical Center for checked out, and that's where they found out he was 3 times the legal limit. You never go drinking driving on your lawnmower, man.
I think we've all been there, though.
Oh, yes. And just to add a little icing on the cake, he has 2 prior DUI convictions, the most recent back in 1987. Some people just never learn.
Wow.
Thought of the Dave. Thought of the Dave happens every night at this time, where we post a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages, then read your responses on the air, because we love the Thought of the Dave around these parts. So today's Thought of the Dave is as follows. Who do you trust and why in reporting on the field of ufology? Oh, did I set up this question today, Everett? Did I set up this question today?
Oh, yeah.
Start off with Lee. He goes, well, be easier if I gave you a list of people I don't trust. You know, you never start anything good off like that. You know what I'm saying? It just never starts off good.
Yeah, but he's kind of right sometimes. That applies sometimes.
Let's go to Uncle Marty at hashtag Spaced Out Radio on Twitter. He's got a great goatee, by the way. Nice set of hair, too. Good head of hair. Says Erica Lukes, because she is the most honest ufologist out there in the field right now. George Knapp is a great all-round investigator of paranormal-related topics, which includes UFOs, but Erica is the best when it comes to specifically on the UFO topic. She's a good call. Very, very good call. Jake says Linda Moulton Howe is probably the one I respect the most. Linda, for her age, still has good hair. Let's be honest.
Yeah, and she has a solid career behind her.
For sure. Richard Dolan is not bad, but I don't like his bias. His wife, Tracy, though, just lovely. Tracy's a nice lady. Very nice lady. All right. Earl says George Knapp and Leslie Kane. Both are journalists with high standards and excellent contacts. Another vote for Dolan and Linda. This is from Dave. He says, because they do the real work of researching and investigating, they take in all of the claims and reduce it to that which is evidential. They don't buy on... what's that? They don't buy off on every claimant with a blue chicken story, and they haven't swallowed Greer's deep state propaganda. All right. Got some anger in that one. Jimmy D's. I trust you, Dave. The rich and the powerful that stand to lose, I think he means lose the most, are the ones that you can't trust. My buddy Benjamin down in Los Angeles, he doesn't have a nice set of hair because he's bald. But he's got a good goatee. Benjamin says, Dave. Then he spells my name backwards. He goes, Evad, extraterrestrial voyager alien discovery. Don't know what that means, but I'll take it. Mike is all on John Tenney, says, because he keeps an open mind to all possible theories. Yes, he does. Love Mr. Tenney around here. He'll be on this month. We'll get him back. Be a lot of fun. All right, let's move on, shall we? Let's see here. Let's go to Scott. Richard Dolan. Why? If you don't know already, you're the problem. Ooh.
Oh, that's some anger.
Tony. Just another special interest group now, lacking absolute facts. Kelly. I trust the guy that... Nope. Still a light pole. Oh, that's going to give you so much trouble. Okay, let's go try and do this straight-faced. I trust that the guy that... Nope, still a light pole. Guess Corey Good? Nope, can't buy the blue chickens on Mars with Andrew Bashago and Obama. I'll just go with Grant Cameron. Renee, I don't believe there is anyone I could trust. Maybe Dave Scott or Rich Giordano? Oh, don't trust me. I'm way too Canadian. MUFON has shown they can't be trusted. Don't know of anyone else otherwise. Keith, Reverend Keith. No one. As Yogi Berra said, you can observe a lot just by watching. Kevin. Dave, I am down to 2 nationally known investigators. The first one is Butch Witkowski. He reminds me of Andy Rooney. He's just way too old and grouchy to lie. The second one is Scarlett Johansson. She just has a face you can trust. Okay. I think we got time for one more here. Scrolling down. Let's see here. Let's go to Jody. I trust myself the most because I have had the most amazing and flipping cool up-close and personal experiences that I know what I know, and I know what I saw. I'm not an author or a researcher or a lecturer, so I am supposed to be, you mean in the field? Aside from me, I love Grant Cameron, Paula Harris, Richard Dolan. Paula has the best examples of real-life experiences besides me. There we go. The thought of the Dave. Every day at this time. Make sure you go check it on out on my Facebook page and on our Twitter page, and maybe you'll get your response read on the air. Thanks to all those who participated. And, of course, we want to say thank you to Captain Shirk for doing our news tonight on the SOR Newswire, which can be currently found on Facebook till we get the facelift on the new website complete. Thank you, Captain Shirk. Everett, thank you so much for coming on in for hour number 3. Always appreciate you taking the time.
Hey, thank you for having me. It's always fun.
Not a problem. We also say thanks to MJ Banias for coming in hours 1 and 2. Remember, if you miss portions of this show, you can go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio, and check it on out. Hit that subscribe button while you're there. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot THAL rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to all of you for making this show so much fun tonight, because together, my friends,
I know you're out there somewhere.
We own the night. I will talk to you in 21 hours from now. Hey, Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor.
Don't make a mistake. We're watching.
We need you to take us home. Hope you have a good night. I can't wait to do this again tomorrow. Come join me, will you? See ya. Good night.